What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian. Today, we're going to kind of go over some of the portal transfers Michigan has lost. I didn't really kind of cover that too much in my last video, but and we'll also go over the absolute just basically massacre that happened last night at the Peach Bowl, where Indiana ran Oregon right out of the building. So we'll go over that in a moment here, but we'll just start off with we'll just kind of start off with the Michigan players that are leaving. Obviously, a lot of the big name starters are staying, but just not too long ago, it was put out there that Justice Haynes will also be transferring. So Michigan does lose an amazing running back, unfortunately. So we do obviously, as a fan, it's not fun to watch us lose someone who's such a quality transfer, but we wish him all the best and wherever he chooses to go. But he is certainly not the only one. Michigan will um, miss in terms of players and startings, especially starters. Um, they have a bunch of players leaving. Michigan's longtime backup, he's been there 2 or 3 years now. Jaden Davis is going. Uh, I think he understands that Bryce Underwood is a starter and will be so for the foreseeable future. Um, don't know where he's going yet, but Davis Warren is going to Stanford, apparently. Michigan is losing also a couple backup or maybe starters, but not long-term starters, and Etta and a couple other ones. Um, there's a couple other ones. Bryson Kudzal, the third string running back, who has done absolutely fine in starting in place behind Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall. He's leaving. We wish him all the best. He was asked to come in and fill shoes that were much bigger than his, but he did just fine. And yeah, hard to ask up from somebody who's following in the footsteps of two guys who are much better realistically than him, but he did everything he could. So um, Michigan's, I believe, third or fourth string, Mikey Keene. I believe he was a Fresno State transfer. He is transferring to Arizona State. He basically was redshirt this year, so he'll have 1 year of eligibility remaining, I believe. Uh, Defensive back Jane Mangum is going to Purdue. Uh, Fred Moore, it doesn't actually, what I'm looking at, it doesn't say where he's going, but there is word that he will be going to Michigan State. I don't know if that's true or not, but if he does, I mean, obviously he's going to the in-state rival, so don't really like that. But at the same time, he's got to do what's best for him. So, more power to him. Samaj Morgan is going to UCLA. Uh, One of the guys who is more buried on the depth chart, Jasper Parker, one of our running backs, is going to Arkansas. I think he was more of a walk-on situation than a scholarship player, but once again, best of luck to him. We're losing one of our backup tight ends, Brady Prescorn, a couple offensive linemen. Caden Strayhorn is going to Alabama. Uh, a kicker, Beckham Sunderland, is going to Minnesota. Uh, and we are losing one of the more impactful starters that we will be losing is Cole Sullivan. Amazing player, great linebacker, very athletic. Uh, he was cited to be a starter. Unfortunately, he will be going to play for Oklahoma. So we will see him again next year, more than likely, because I believe Oklahoma is coming to play at Michigan. So, but wish him all the best. Great dude, great player. So, if he sees a better opportunity, by all means, take it. So, um, one of our backup offensive linemen, Connor Jones, is going to Georgia State. It looks like, and there were some other names that had put their names as possibilities going to the transfer portal, but have decided to come back. Thankfully, Andrew Babalola was one of those, so thankfully he's back. I believe I covered Bryce Underwood is staying, Evan Link is staying, offensive lineman Blake Frazier is staying, and Zeke Berry retracted his transfer portal and he's staying. So these are all really good things. A lot of continuity that is necessary to bring the team into the new year. Coach Whittingham is doing good things in that regard. Um, Michigan has publicly announced 5 additions via the transfer portal, and these are very important additions. These are um, not necessarily just guys who were bad at another school and thought, hey, maybe I can get in at Michigan. Uh, One of the biggest ones is, well, 2 really big ones are John Henry Daly from Utah. He played for Coach Whittingham, so he understands what he's doing and what he's getting into. That's great. And then we're kind of swapping players to Oklahoma. One of the top running backs in the nation in the transfer portal is coming to Michigan. Taylor Tatum from Oklahoma. So that's really good. That's really big. And while I don't know that he's better than Justice Haynes per se, I think it will help lessen the blow of losing him. So once again, it's hard to say. You don't know. But also a long snapper, Nico Crawford from Pitt is joining Michigan. So important to have, special teams is important. So certainly not taken away from that, but maybe not quite the impact the other ones had. And a kicker, Trey Butkowski from Pitt, is coming along with him. And then a punter by the name of Cam Brown is coming from UNLV. Got to say, I don't know anything about that individual, but hey, find diamonds in the rough and you find treasure amongst the trash. So hopefully that is exactly what happens here, and all these guys show up to Michigan ready to play and do great things. So those are the main additions right now. Um, obviously, uh, there's more time for the portal to yield results, and we can only hope that Michigan pulls in players who will be valuable additions and not just guys who come to Michigan for extraneous reasons like money and all that. Of course, money is a driving factor for all players. I get that, but we need to get players who fit into our system, Coach Whittingham's culture, and will be who come to play for Michigan and not play for money. Money should not be the primary reason. Playing for someone who wants to see you succeed and for the culture and everything should be your primary goal. But once again, everybody's different. Everybody's motivated by different things. So, um, now moving on to, we'll kind of talk about the game last night between Indiana and Oregon. That Oregon basically got run out of the stadium. That's just to put it nicely, just put it as in as simple language as possible. The game started off with a pick six by Indiana, and by halftime, it was, if I remember right, it was like something like 42-7. And not to take away from Oregon because they played hard. Just the score may not necessarily represent necessarily accurately the effort that was put forward, but Indiana was just that much better. Uh, Dante Moore, the quarterback for Oregon, threw for 280 some yards. So it's not like he had a terrible game. He had that one bad pick, and then he had no turn and he had no interceptions afterwards. There was a lot of problems with fumbles. That really did hurt Oregon on a number of plays. Some mistakes that definitely did not go Oregon's way, and that alone really set them back on a number of occasions. So yes, Oregon did to themselves in some regards, but I think it was more about Indiana not just capitalizing on Oregon's mistakes, but just playing really, really solid football for the second game in a row. And these are playoff games. These are not non-conference games against you know Captain Nobody's from nowhere. These are, high-end opponents. And Indiana and Fernando Mendoza, Indiana's quarterback, the Heisman Trophy winner, he had more interceptions than he did incompletions. That's insane. And this is the second game in a row he did that. That is an incredible statistic and kind of validates him winning the Trophy in many, many ways. So that's a big deal, and it's good to see, them kind of proving that coaching and effort and buying into the team still will have higher ceiling in terms of results than maybe somebody who just wants to go to team X to play for money, NIL or whatever the case may be. So, no, that's not to say, and that's not definitely not shade at teams who go to, play for that money because oftentimes they get there for the money and they kind of buy in once they're there. That does happen, and that's good and that's valid. So, not trying to insult anybody. And I understand that some people, once they get all the money, they help their families, and that's excellent too. So, not insulting anybody, but I feel like the team should always come before the money does. So, and some guys do great things with the money too. So, once again, not trying to hurt anybody's feelings on that, but it's a reality that a lot of kids do that. So, But Indiana is breaking the mold and showing that playing for the team as a bunch of 3 foot, couple 1 or 2 5 stars, to the best of my knowledge, none, but there might be that I'm missing, and a bunch of 4 and 3 stars can play as a team and come together and win against guys who are supposed to beat them. So, that's good. Um, yeah, all in all, it was a fantastic game to watch. If you're an Oregon fan, not much of a fantastic game in terms of the results or the gameplay as a whole. So, that being said, we're gonna in about 9 days, the championship game will happen. It's gonna be Miami versus Indiana. Um, Not the result I was hoping for. I was personally hoping for Ole Miss in Indiana because I wanted a champion we've never had before, but beggars can't be choosers, and I am yet just a fan. So, yeah, if if your money's if your money's on Indiana, your money might be at a good spot because they if they play anything like how they played against, Oregon, there's a very good chance, they win on that one too. But as next couple days will go by, I'll kinda do more looking internally myself, and then I'll kinda put something out in regards to that. So, once again, congratulations to Indiana, make it to the championship, and congratulations to Miami as well. That's awesome. Obviously, those players are happy, and so we should be happy for them, even if that's not who we wanted to win. So, yeah. So that pretty much wraps it up. Michigan got some guys in the transfer portal, lost some guys in the transfer portal. So that's kind of how it seems to be going in the wild, wild west of transfer portal world. And Indiana beat the brakes off of Oregon. So thank you all for watching. And I hope everybody is having an amazing weekend. And I will put out some more stuff in relation to football in the next week. So y'all have a good one. Peace.